and this is Daisy again. And you know what? Every year when it gets to Christmas time, I make a whole bunch of black cakes. And some people just love my black cakes, and hey, well, maybe some don't too. Well, that's the balance of life. But I figure that since I'm so far away from everybody this year, I may be mailing out a few, but I decided I'm going to teach you all how I make it. And if you're from Jamaica or with any recipe, everybody has their own way of doing stuff, okay? But today I'm going to show you how I do it and make sure that it always comes out the same way. And I'm not going to say it's easy. What I'm going to say, it's time consuming. Is it impossible? No. But it can take up to a few days to get ready to make a black cake. Some people soak their fruits even for a whole year. Like once they're done with Christmas season, they soak their fruits. Well, I'm not one of those who soak fruits because I have to travel a lot and I don't want things to get broken. But I have a way where I get the fruit infused with the rum and the wine in a very quick way, but it still takes a couple of days to get ready. But I've done all of that for you already, and today I'm just going to walk you through the actual putting together of the cake. And then, yes, sorry you can't smell my house, but it's going to smell delightful a little later. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I hope you can see this is going to be my mixing bowl. What I'm going to start with, today I'm going to make what I call a 1 pound mix. And no, it doesn't mean that it weighs 1 pound at the end. What it means is that the major ingredients are 1 pound each. So I start out with a pound of brown sugar, and hey, I make it easy. This, I don't even have to weigh that. I think the only thing I did put on the scale was the flour, because I had like a large container of flour. But if you go to the supermarket, you can buy flour in the 1 pound containers, or a lot of times they come in the 2 pound container, and you just estimate it. Come on people, just do that. So halfway down the bag, and we just pinch it, and it's 1 pound of sugar, and we're done with the sugar. And I start with I like to use the Country Crock butter. Well, is it butter? Country Fresh Taste. It's probably margarine. Vegetable oil spread. But whatever they call it, this is the one I like to cook with. This is the one I like to bake with. Another thing about it, it's 2 pound 13 ounces. That's almost 3 pounds. So I'm almost certain that if I go one third down the container, that I'm good. So this butter has been at room temperature for a few hours now, and that's the thing. Usually if I bake in the morning, I take out the butter from overnight and the eggs so that they can all get to room temperature, and then I bake first thing in the morning. And that guys is kind of why I say that making black cake takes time and it takes planning. Okay, all right, so I think I got about a pound of butter. I think I got about 1/3 the container here, and that's a pound of butter. And I have a hand mixer. I am not a professional like some people who have a standing mixer. I have a hand mixer, and that's what I am going to use. Okay, that's what I'm going to start with. And we get to mixing the butter, creaming the butter and the sugar. And you know, baking is one of those things that really helps me to relax. If you have anything thinking about, because it takes so much to concentrate on making the cake, then it's good to just come in the kitchen and focus on the cake, and everything else falls into the back of your mind, because really you can only think about one thing at one time. And I'm getting that butter and sugar well mixed. In the meantime, if you look over here in the blender, what I have is the fruit over there waiting to be blended. So let me tell you about that fruit now. Remember I said some people soak their fruits from a year before. And in that blender I have the mixed fruit. Emily, give me one of the unused mixed fruit from over the cupboard, please. Yes, guys, sometimes I forget things and I gotta call you. I want to show you what I put in here. So there's a chopped fruits, and if you're from the islands or whatever, you know what it is. You get these in like the Korean stores, and yeah, where I live I don't have that, but I have friends in New York and I pay them to make it to me. So this is what it looks like. This one, the chopped fruit, they call it mixed fruit, and this one says this is almost a pound. It's 0.88 pounds, so you pay like $2.46, $2.50 for it. And that goes in the, I put that in the pot, and I put raisins, and I put prunes. And what I do, I put it in the pot, in a boiling pot, and I add like a cup of water, and then I add like a half cup of wine. And I use, for baking, the best thing is red label wine, but hey, again, when you're overseas or when you're far from home and you don't have that, I get this one called Taylor's port wine. Pass me the port wine. And it tastes just as good as the, let me not anger the Jamaicans, it tastes almost as good as the red label wine. Okay, so I put that, about a half cup of that, and few tablespoons full of rum, whichever rum you can find. If you have the good old Jerry and Nephew, that's perfect. If not, you in any Walmart you can find Captain Morgan's rum or Dominican rum. Or listen, man, no, that little tubs of red label that I have left, I want you to get the Taylor dark bottle Taylor port wine. My daughter having problems finding the Taylor port wine. It's my fault. I should have pulled it, but because I had it ready already, and I wasn't going to. I didn't plan to show it. Here we go. Oh, here's the Taylor port wine. So you can get this in Total Wines. I got this in Walmart too, right? And that is good. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, my love. And you can get that in Walmart, or you can get it in Total Wines. Any of the big liquor stores should have it. So I think I'm done with, I think, I don't see any grains in here. It's nice and pasty. And as like I said, not a professional, but at least I know it should be, nice and creamy. And I've put that in. Now, this is the part that gets a lot of people when I tell them. And that is why these cakes are reserved for special occasions, okay? Now, in this 1 pound mix, remember I put 1 pound of butter, 1 pound of sugar, and in a 1 pound mix, it gets 1 dozen eggs. Yes, guys, it does get 1 dozen eggs. And in a 2 pound mixture, it goes up the same ratio, 2 dozen eggs. And I'm telling you, the first time when Auntie Jean was teaching me this, and she said 1 dozen eggs. I said, what? We're not used to 1 dozen egg going in anything, but it's 1 dozen eggs. And you just break them into a separate container. So you need a big bowl for this. And please, I don't know if you all are professionals at breaking eggs. I've gotten used to it by now. I just use a knife or the edge of a fork. And hey, it's just country and run, right? So I just need to get 1 dozen egg in here, and I need the egg, and I need it. I'm trying to adjust for you, and I just need to make sure that no shells get in there, because the shells would be the bane of my existence. It would make your day hard. Nobody wants to bite on eggs when they're eating cake. And I mean, sometimes it does happen and you gotta go fishing for those egg pieces. And let me tell you, if you ever try removing egg shell from egg, you have a warm time coming here. Okay, so I'm almost there. This was, I just bought these. This is our 18 count free range eggs. And listen, you don't have to go free range eggs. If you're baking cake 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 1 dozen egg. Good. Let me some paper towel here. 1 dozen, we're done with that. You can move that out of the way. And that's how it would be so much easier. You just get your, you call it here, you get the egg, with the 1 dozen egg, and then you just break it and put the shells back in the carton, and you're ready, and that's just easy peasy, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to proceed to beat this 1 dozen egg. And this part, if there's anything that can make and break your recipe, it's a mixing of the eggs. You really want this egg to be well mixed. And I'm just starting with the hand whisk. And like I tell people, oh my God, when you bake black cake, at least when I bake black cake, when I'm done, I've gotten a shoulder and an arm workout, right? As with most things you make from scratch, right? And I cheat a lot. I'll tell you how I'm going to do now. So since in my world, if the egg, the thing, everything going in one, I'm going to use the hand mixer and finish off the egg. At least I just mix them in. Just go straight to the sink. And I'm just going to finish mixing the eggs here. So I'm going to give it a good minute with the electric mixer. Just get it nice. I just want it, how I know it's ready is when it starts to change color. You see how it was bright red? By the time it starts, when it's really mixed well, it starts to get a lighter color. It starts to go light yellow. It's not that bright orange anymore, right? I think that this is how they make the eggnog as well. I've never done that, but I love it, and I guess that's how what happens. The more you mix it, the more it changes, you know, it becomes this creamy color. Yes, guys, and you mix in. And this part you can really put the power to it because you really want this egg to be well mixed. I just keep turning this. Yeah, I don't have an electric one of those standing mixers, so I gotta do the turning myself, right? But let me tell you, the cake comes out tasting just as well anyway, right? And it's going. And you see when it starts, you start getting those nice froth on top. You know it's coming. I'm going to go for maybe another 30 seconds here because it's coming. I'm getting that froth on top and it's changing colors. It's getting a little lighter than when you started. Imagine doing this by hand, guys. Imagine using that wire whisk and whisking to get this. Man, I tell you, so I've had some days. Alright. I think I've got it. What I'm going to do, let's move this, the mixing bowl, the original bowl back in view. And what I'm going to do, so there are 12 eggs, and I'm going to add the egg in about 1 in 3 parts, right? And I'm going to just medium mix, or not high mix, medium mix. So on here are 2 or 3. 2, let's start with a 2, and I'm going to pour just about 1/3 of the egg in here and start mixing. Not all at once, guys. Not all at once. Right? And I see to it that has been mixed in nicely before I add another 1/3. And maybe since I have a little bit more, I'm going to step it up to 3 now. Now guess what? Be prepared, you know, have your wooden spoon ready because this is the only part that gets mixed with the electric mixer. And that's a part of making black cake. Okay, so while we're mixing the cake, what is really happening on the other side of the kitchen is I've turned on the oven and I've preheated the oven to 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Now guys, my oven never gets higher than 320 when I'm making that cake. Yes, unbelievable. Yes, it doesn't get, I don't put it higher. It could be 315, it could be 300, but it doesn't get higher because it's a slow cooked cake. This is a slow cooked cake. And then I can add the rest of this. Maybe I'm going to, these eggs seem to have been a little big, so I'm going to, I'm not going to add 1/3. Maybe it's going to go in 4 parts. Right? And we mix. So the oven is at 320 and preheating. And I'll tell you something else what's going on in the oven. I have used an oven safe container. Right now I have my metal lasagna pan in there, and I've filled it 3/4 ways with water, and I've put that on the bottom shelf. Yes guys, water goes in my oven when I'm making my black cake, right? So it ends up being more like a steam than a dry bake, and I guess that's the secret behind the moist cake. Put a container of water in the oven. And I'm done with this. All right, and quite frankly, we're done with the mixer too. Everything else will be added in by hand. Yes. So we can get this out of the way. And I'm just going to move the blender over here. Remember guys, I told you I had steamed my my fruit in a pot, boiling pot, and I just literally just put the fire underneath them with the fruit, the chopped fruit that I showed you, the raisins and prunes, and put them in the pot. Water, 1 cup water, 1/2 cup of the wine, and a few tablespoons full of the rum. And you put that in, and you put that in and have it run. Guys, my plug is short. The plug on this blender. And you blend them. So you put the fruits in and you blend them. After you have steamed them and you leave it for a few hours to cool. That's the quickest way to infuse them. That's the quickest possible way to infuse your fruit with the rum and the wine. You steam it in there, leave the pot covered until it's cool, and that's how you get it. All right. So I use my Ninja, and it's my uncle who I learned about this Ninja from, and that's how it goes. All right. So what's next? Now this is the point where we put in our spices. Well, at least for me, the first part. And like I said, I don't measure, right? Right now I'm putting in some cinnamon, nutmeg. Yep, nutmeg. It is nutmeg, right? What the hell, I putting in something else, some other spice in here. And I put a little bit of salt. What would probably be equal to a pinch of salt. Yes. And guess what, guys? A half a lemon. Okay guys, I'm going to squeeze a half of a lemon in there. And it could be lime if that's what you have. If you have lime juice, if you have lemon, pre-squeezed lemon juice, that works, right? But I like to use my fresh lemons, and I'm just going to squeeze what is equal to half of a lemon. And what this does, it cuts the smell of the eggs, and I don't like the smell of eggs, not at all. So you can ask my kids about that. I don't like the smell of eggs at all, right? And then we can mix that around a little bit. So we put nutmeg, cinnamon, and salt, lemon. And guess what? Here is a secret to the recipe: jam or jelly. So you can use grape jelly. You can use, well, today I'm using blackberry jam because that's what I have opened. And I'm just going to use a few tablespoons full of jam. So I'm making a 1 pound mix. So I'm probably going to use like 2 tablespoons full, over full tablespoon. So guess what that does, guys? The jam makes it really moist and jelly, right? And I have that in there. And as we mix, it's going to get mixed out in there. All right? And we have here, I'd measured out my pound of flour. And we're getting towards the end of the preparation right now. So you can put some vanilla in there too, right? Vanilla or almond spice, whichever one you have, but vanilla definitely. So I'm going to just put a teaspoon. Emily, can you plug in my phone for me, please, baby? I'm just going to put a little vanilla essence, pure vanilla, McCormick's pure vanilla, and I put about, yeah, that sounded like about a teaspoon and a half. Guys, I'm sorry, I don't measure like that. The only measurements I really stick to are the eggs, the flour, the sugar, and the butter. Everything else is according to your liking. And that's it. Because, I mean, who's going to tell you how much you can't use so much vanilla or whatever, right? Yeah, vanilla is your spice. You use it according to how you like it, right? So this part of it now, I'm ready to do the last. This is part that's going to be the last putting together. I'm going to add the fruits and the flour alternately, right? So let's get this out of the way. So I can't afford to waste any of my mixed fruit. So everything gets scraped in here, right? Nice and pasty. So you see that? I blend it out until it's nice and pasty, right? I wish I could get more, but these blades are super sharp, so I don't play with them. So that's it. Whatever the spoon can get off is what's going to get off, because I'm not trying to cut my finger, right? And 1 pound of flour, we're going to do it alternately. So we're going to start putting in scraping in some fruit here. Okay, I have a spatula over here. And it's alternately now. So we put some fruit. And if you are a big you're into getting into a lot of wine and stuff into your cake, now is a good time to you could add it to this liquid. And now we start mixing. And guys, this is where the power muscles come in. Okay guys. And get up in there, get up into its business in the corners. And remember, we have jam in there to beat out. So you get up in there and jam. You see, once you start mixing the fruit, it starts to get color too. And then, hey, what did I say? I'm leaving out of the flour. The baking powder, people, and the baking soda. What kind of flat cake we will have today? And since it's a 1 pound, since it's a 1 pound mix, I usually recommend, the recipe would say 1 teaspoonful of baking powder. All right, that's a half teaspoonful measure I'm using. So you know how to level off on here. 1 teaspoonful. But here's the big but, guys. I am afraid of getting a hard cake, and so I always add a teaspoonful of baking soda as well, right? And I have good old Arm & Hammer baking soda, and I'm going to add a teaspoonful of that as well. So the rest, it would say 1 teaspoonful to the 1 flour. Am I doing that right? 1 teaspoonful. So I put 1 teaspoonful of baking soda. I've put 1 teaspoonful of baking powder. I think I need another teaspoonful of baking powder. I think it's to every 2 cups. So it won't hurt to put in extra baking powder. You just have really light cake. you just have really light cake, right? So I'm going to put another. So that's 1.5 teaspoons. I think that's enough. I've put 1.5 teaspoonful of baking powder and 1 teaspoonful of baking soda, right? And we're just going to mix that into. We're just going to mix that into the flour, into the dry ingredients, right? And you mix that, and this is what you're adding alternately. Right, so let's do it. And you fold it in. And this part is the longest part, guys. This part is where the work is, guys. We gotta fold. I do a fold over technique because I can't waste any of my flour. And you keep doing that. You keep doing that with your fruit and your flour. And I mix and I pull the back of my wooden spoon against the side to catch any flour lumps. By right, you should sieve your flour, but the flour is pretty good. Anyway, that's the reason why you fold in, to minimize the number of lumps you get. And I usually just mix against the side of the bowl. So I press and mix and press. And right now you're just looking for a consistency, right? And I'm going to show it to you. It's when you lift and well, all your flour has to get in, and after that you can stop with the fruit. No, another thing about my black cake is I don't use browning. I use burnt sugar. Yes, that is my browning. And yeah, back in the day, people would burn their own sugar. Well, ain't nobody got no pot for that. No, ain't nobody got no time for that. Okay, so we are going to add burnt sugar bought at the store. Today, I love to use the Blue Mountain one, and I like this bottle. You see how it squeezes? Guys, these things are shipped to me, okay? My beloved mama ships them to me. I send her some money, and when I send it to her money, yes or no, she gets them for me. She says, you know what you want this month? And she does that, and she sends them to me, put them in the mail, and mail them to me. And this one is easy to ship because it's plastic, right? And she ships that to me from New York. All right, so that over on the other side of the country down here, we can have this. So I'm just going to add some brown sugar until I get to the color that I like. And always remember, guys, let me tell you, whatever you get, whatever color you get in here, when you're done, you put it in the oven, it's going to be a little bit darker. But it's black cake. It is supposed to be dark, right? And guys, this is looking good. It's looking good. It's smelling good. And I'm just going to add some almond essence to it. And you know what I found in the store that I'm going to try in there now? I found a rum flavored McCormick rum. I never knew this thing existed until I was making some zucchini bread the other day and my coworker told me about it. So I'm going to add a little rum flavor, and I'm going to add some pure almond extract because there's just a smell I like to come from my cake. Okay, and I add them last because these are all alcohol based stuff and they evaporate. Yes, so almond goes back in almond and rum goes back in rum. So we use these three today. And it's so thick that it can take a little additional oh, this smells good. Oh guys, oh my god, oh my god. This is ready to just be on fingers right now. Who used to lick their mama cake? Well, my mama wasn't a baker like that, but I used to do it from I was a child, and I love licking the bowl. Emily, anybody gonna want the bowl today? Anybody gonna want the bowl to lick? Oh, see? Okay, so I grow my kids just like how I was grown, man. They even walk around telling people they're Jamaicans. I'm like, you're not Jamaican, right? So this has gotten nice and dark, right? And quite frankly, this is ready to go. This is done. I don't have any. Look at this consistency, right? Just falling off. It's not runny, but look, it takes a second to fall off the spoon, right? All right. So one last thing now, and this is literally cherry on the cake. So I get this maraschino cherry and literally come on. All right, and I'm going to fork out a few and cut them into big chunks and put them in the cake, and they go in last because I don't use them like a part of the fruit that I soak, right? This when you get my fruit cake to bite, now and again you meet the surprise of a nice little chunk of cherry, right? Nice little chunk of cherry. So I get them. And guys, you know when you go to the store, and things are on sale, sometimes you must pay attention. Okay? So here I saw these cherries and they said, oh, sale. Except that I didn't realize that it is the one with the stems. Who want cherry stems to eat? Huh? Why didn't they sell me cherry, put the cherry that is already stemmed or destemmed on sale, right? But don't mind, just pick them off here. That's what you get for being cheap. And just rinse off your hand, right? And we are going to just chop them nice and quick. Let me show you. I just literally, right, hold them and chop them in like in thirds, in halves, in quarters. Not too small, but like a nice, oops, right, nice little chunks. And that's the last thing that goes into my cake, because they're going to remain like that with little chunks. And it's not a lot. It's just that surprise that turns up on a slice. Oh, you're eating a slice of cake and then, ooh, you bite into a little piece of cherry here, right? I hope this is helping somebody this year. And I'm telling you guys, if you can make the time to do it, it reaps rewards. Well, I can tell you that my husband loves it. He calls it the devil. And then he says, you're making devil cake, right? And he says, I'm not going to eat any, because you all know he exercises like crazy, right? And he says, not going to eat any, and then he passes it, and he says, I'm going to take just one little bite, one slice, one small slice. And then before you know it, you come home from work and you ask him, where's the cake you bake? Oh, like a peace leaf in there. All right, so let's move these out and we're ready to pour. So my oven is nice and hot at 320, and usually when I do a 1 pound mix, the oven is nice and hot at 320, and I'm bringing in the cake tins. So I think this is a 6-inch and this might be an 8-inch, but it's not a high 8-inch. It's a small 8-inch. And I use my measuring cup to pour my cake. Okay. All right. So, and like I said, guys, in my kitchen we use crochet stuff. Okay. So over here I have crochet. This is my version. I have crochet placemat. I have crochet pot holder or hot pad, and a few of my friends have gotten these ones. This one is not as thick as the one I made for my friends, because you know how they say we say just make a pitney never have clothes. It's sometimes hard to make stuff for myself, but this is actually a placemat I crocheted from 100% cotton, and I'll do a video to show you how to make it. It's the easiest thing ever. And this is also 100% cotton. And this is on my website at crochetbydacia.etsy.com. You can get the pot holders there in different colors to buy. And I mean, lots of friends have the pot holders. All right. And then, okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the cake tins. Now, when I said making black cake is not hard, it's just time consuming. Now, if you notice this tin, and I made the kids, I taught the kids a long time ago, because homegirl need help how to do this. So I had the kids do this for me today. So I use wax paper, and after I grease it with the butter, after it's greased with the butter, then you literally put this on wax paper, mark it out so you get the round, and then you fit it in. See that? It's fit to size, cut to size, you put that piece in. And then you get little squares, little lengths of strips, and put around the side. So this is lined with grease wax paper right now. Same thing over here. An alternative, if you don't want to go through that, I saved a little Pyrex dish, because every time I bake, you have to do a little test there, you know. And the easy way to do it, easy way to cheat to prepare like a Pyrex dish is to get your good old spray, right? And then you just literally spray the the Pyrex dish, and that's now greased. And you just put a little bit of flour in there. And you put a little bit of flour in it and dust it, and it's ready. Dish and my measuring cup, and I literally get in there and I pour. Give it a good mix, because remember those cherries are mixed out in there. And I think this one is 3/4 ways. That's one. And this is a 1 pound mix. And I mean, you can, this usually will hold a maximum of 2.5 or a 3 pound mix. If you want to really get into mixing cake, you have to get some big old containers. You understand? So right now I make a good mix. This. And I'm spooning in. Oh, it smells so good, guys. And it's not even gone in the oven yet. And we're doing 3/4 ways, because it will rise. And the oven is ready for it. Right? Black cake. Run in here. Take the spoon and put it in the sink. You're coming in here. He literally ran from his room when I told him it was ready. Here. I think I got most of it, guys. Come over here. Say hello.
Hello.
You like when mommy tell them if you like mommy's mix.
Yes, I do.
Okay, here's the bowl. Here you go. All right, guys. So this is, I got all three like I knew I would from it. And now we're gonna load them into the oven. Okay, so here's what's going on in the oven, guys. When I just start. So down the bottom is my tin with my water, and on the top shelf, and I don't use the top shelf, it's like the middle shelf of the oven, I've put in my 3 cakes. The temperature is at 320, and we are going to probably set a timer for an hour. Let's start at 50 minutes. All right, see you in 50 minutes. All right. Okay, guys, the timer just went off, 50 minutes, and we didn't need a timer to go off to tell us that cake was in the house. The smell, and I wish I could get you the smell through the oven, through the camera. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take them out and I'm going to test them, okay? One moment. So there are a few things I splurge in, okay? So little things like cake tester. Yes, they have these things. Just a little wire on tip. And we test. In and it's ready. Look at that. It's clean. Ready to go. So I'm just gonna turn off the oven because this is probably one of the bigger ones, and if it's ready to go, then they're all ready to go. So let me get my cooling rack out. Yes, guys, I am okay. So I'm not a fan. I may not shop for certain things, but there are certain things I shop for, like all my things to make my life easy when I'm baking and crocheting. Okay, I got all the gadgets for crocheting and for making life easy in the kitchen. So yes, my cooling rack. But I mean, you don't have to go out and get one. if you don't have one already. You can make crochet holders. Okay, I'm going to put this one back. See that one? See? You would think that that's the one that would have gotten done, right? The one in the Pyrex dish. But I'm going to put it back because it's not quite there yet. So I guess the flat ones are, but not this one. Ugh. Oh guys, let's look at the color on that cake. You want to talk about the smell, man? And we're going to test this one. Since one didn't come out, right, we're going to test this one. Okay, all right. So the two ones in the cake tins, they are ready. And we're just going to let them cool. And there's something, let me show you something that I do. When I make them in the cake tin, I don't do this with the Pyrex dish, or else you will have no Pyrex dish. The Pyrex dish will not be anymore. Okay? So I literally get a teacup, and I have a fantasy, another thing, I collect teacups. So this one I got in Dubai. And so guys, here's where I do. This is how I do my rumming of the cake now. Okay, when it's baked, then I go get my rum and wine, and I make a little mixture. I pour, because what's the sense of putting it in the oven and then it just evaporates with the heat? So I make a mixture, and this I can tailor. When I do it like this, I can tailor it towards different people. So I have some uncles who like there are lots of rum or there are lots of liquor in their cake. And then you have some who don't. So guys, I have rums from all over the world, okay? So I have that one I just used was Dominican rum. I used a little Dominican rum, Puerto Rican rum, pardon me. See, I'm giving it the Puerto Rican rum and the Taylor thing. And then now I'm using some Captain Morgan rum, white rum. And I'm just going to put a little in there. And then guys, I'm literally going to spoon this over the hot cake. Okay, so maybe what I should do is move both of them to the top of the rack. I have several racks, but they can share. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wet the cake with the wine and rum mixture. Oh, and then the smell comes up, and then these cakes, guys, you know, we use them for weddings, we make them at Christmas, all of this, and they can last a while. Like my dad once, he came to New York in June, and December he still had cake. You put them in the freezer, but this method of re-wetting and you mix your mixture and re-wet it will keep your cake going. Okay, so now and again you can freeze it and take it out and re-wet it, and even this will keep for weeks. Like now it's almost Thanksgiving. You could start baking your Christmas cakes now, and they would keep just even at room temperature. You just what I do now after school is put it in plastic wrap, and then put it in foil paper. And every week you open up the plastic wrap and re-wet it with some of this mixture. And guys, let me tell you, ever hear they say, the all of the moon, the brighter it shine? Well, let me tell you something. The older this cake gets, the better it is. So these two are rummed and wined and all this stuff. The other one, I won't do anything to it. The other one will just be your tester and we'll eat it at home. All right, guys. Well, I know it's usually about crochet, but we had crochet in the kitchen, crochet placemats and crochet pot holder. And I'll probably teach you. I didn't show you how to make it, but I told you where you could get it. You can get them at my website if you so desire. I sell them in pairs and they're really good for situations like this. And I have way cuter colors than what I keep for myself. Lots of friends will tell you. All right, well, thank you. It was fun being with you for this time and just hanging out in my kitchen and rocking to some music and showing you how I do black cake. It's not hard, but it's time consuming. Okay? Have fun. Let me know. I hope you try it this season. You have time. You can start. If you have a day off from work, just start the night before with the steaming of the fruit. Let it sit for the morning. Take out your eggs, take out your butter, let it get to room temperature. Wake up 6 o'clock in the morning and start your batch. By 8 o'clock you finish. You should be done before that, but like when you're starting, you may have to go back through this video to see what is next. It might take you that time. And then by the end of the day, you have cake. And you do a 1 pound batch, you see what you get. So you do a 2 pound batch, you get 6 cakes. And you're good. What would it like to just spend 2 hours, get 6 cakes? A lot of you not selling cakes, you just want cake to eat or to give to your family. So hey, thank you. Let me know what you like and what else I can do for you. All right, take care.